Hey guys, I want to start this week's video just to let you know it's been a couple weeks since I've been back on our farm tours. I've been pretty busy here on the farm. I'm trying to get some stuff situated before fall goes, trying to get a lot of seeding done. That's why you see me downstairs. I'm just trying to get chores done in particular. One of the chores that I wanted to get done is going to be spread over the next 4 episodes you are about to see. We are moving our 20 by 65 DIY tunnel from our front yard area in front of our home back over to where the 20 by 100 all metal kit is. And here's the reason why. I've got 2 major reasons. One is we're possibly looking at moving from this farm location in the next year to 2 years. So I kind of wanted to reclaim that front yard area in case we were to possibly move. That way we can get that area seeded back into grass or possible flower beds for potential new homeowners that could be possibly coming in. The second reason why is I needed to build a propagation tunnel. I've needed a propagation tunnel for a while now, just a specific propagation tunnel that I could put all of my seed starting equipment in. I could show you guys how I start seeds here on the farm. And the other purpose was to reuse what I've already got in my DIY to make it as cheap as possible to get this done as soon as possible. Okay, over the next 4 episodes, like we discussed, you're going to see a plethora of things. One is we are going to mount the new pipe bender to a sturdy object. I used a tree in my yard, but ultimately you could use anything and you'll be able to see that into the videos. The second is how to repurpose already bent 20-foot poles and rebend them a little bit tighter to make you fit your 12-foot high tunnel. And then we are going to go through attaching wood to metal. That seems to be a big issue, and some comments that we've had here on the website is, how do I attach wood to metal? How do I attach metal to wood? I'm going to show you exactly how I've done it. This is my 3rd tunnel now. I'm not an expert by no means, but I think I've got it down pretty good. And the last one is how we are going to take the used plastic that may or may have holes in it from other, that plastic that I've got on that DIY has been on it for 2 years now. There are going to be a little bit of holes you get from accidentally knocking things into it, mowing around it, anything like that. I'm taking a bigger sheet of plastic and I'm condensing it down to a smaller tunnel. So that gives me the chance and ability to shift that plastic where I need be to make sure when I trim that plastic, I trim the holes out of it and get one whole sheet. The whole goal of this was to reuse what we already have on hand and just spend minimal amount of money. I think I spent $250 extra to actually build this tunnel the way I want. That includes paint and cosmetic things like that. We are going to do a walk around of it. I'm going to show you why I ended up where I did, why we didn't do any groundwork, or we did do any groundwork, things like that. All right, guys, the last thing I want to talk about is possibly any video or audio issues we may be having within the next 4 videos here. I do want to apologize for that. I am trying to put out the best content in the highest quality. I am filming in 4K. We are having some problems with our internet provider. For some reason, a lot of these videos that I'm producing and uploading in 4K are not coming out in 4K. So some of the video quality is pretty poor. There's not much I can do about it. We're trying to work through that, trying to speak with our internet provider, trying to figure out what's going on, or trying to get those taken care of going into the future. The last thing is audio. If any of you guys have met me in person, I have a pretty loud, booming voice. Naturally, that's just how I am. That's just my type of talking. I like to protrude myself and come out very cleanly and very clearly. So ultimately, that does give me a loud platform. I do have a wireless microphone now, and that is very sensitive to my loud voice. So I've been trying to work through those issues by either positioning the microphone further away from my mouth, so that way it's not quite as loud. I've been trying to think myself in my head, I need to quiet down a little bit because I do have a new microphone now. It's very hard. If you're used to doing something for the last 50 years, it's hard to stop doing that now. But those are some of the things I kind of wanted to reach out and talk on, guys, before we watch these next 4 episodes. You can pretty much use these pipe benders and put them on anything you want. I've seen people put them on, lay them down flat as on a picnic table so they can grab it like this and bend the pipe. I've seen people installed on their decks. I've seen people installed on the side of their barn. I didn't want to do any of those things. What I've got is I've got a plenty of these Chinese elm, pretty much kind of just junk trees. Are really not good for anything but a little bit of shade, but they leak a lot of sap.
Japanese beetles love them. So really, honestly, they're just kind of a hindrance of a tree. So what I can do, I know they are very vigorous, so you can drill into these. I've got one in my driveway right now that's been hit by lightning at least 6 times, and it is still growing good. So these trees, for whatever reason, they're very good growers. So what we're going to do is I've decided I've got this one right here, literally 20 feet from where my high tunnel is going to go. So I am going to mount my tube bender here. And you may ask, well, where did you get your tube bender? Well, you can get your tube benders from bootstrapfarmer.com. This one is a 12-foot bender. I own a 4-foot, a 12-foot, and a 20 from them. So each one of these benders bends a certain radius. So, of course, the 12-foot one is going to bend a 12-foot high tunnel. The 20-foot one, just like you see in the DIY tunnel there, it's going to bend a 20-foot one. And then the 4-foot one is going to bend a 4-foot radius. So on and so on. Just get that out there. What you do have to do when you get these is they will come in a box with some bolts. I choose to upgrade my bolts to 9/16 carriage bolts. I just feel I put grade 8s in it. You by all means do not need grade 8s. I always try to go a little overkill on stuff like this because I want to do it one time and that's it. So I chose to upgrade my bolts, which is no big deal. It does come with bolts to add this to anything that you want to do. I put it on a 2x8. So what that does is I can move this from place to place, house to house, farm to farm, whichever is needed. And it also has a good sturdy base for this to mount to. So all you're going to do is run your carriage bolts through. You're going to find a good place that's sturdy, that does not move. So as you pull those poles and bend that, you get a good pull from that. So what we've got is we've got 3 branches in this tree, but the one in the middle is further, about 12 inches back. So as you can see, if we mount this kind of like this, that's going to be the perfect height. You don't have to go 10 foot in the air, and you don't want it right here. The reasoning why is because those sticks are 10 foot long. So you've got to remember, once you stick that pole in there, you've got probably about 7 foot of pole sticking out. So you want to make sure you have ample room from the ground, and you don't want it too tall where you cannot reach that pole to bend that. So I always try to shoot for, I just extend my arm out like this, just like this, nothing fancy. I'm not even going to level this dude. I'm just going to, you know what, I may just kick that up just a hair, because this is where the end of the pole's going to rest, and this is where I'm going to be. It'll just make it easier on me. What I've got is 9/16 carriage bolt. Go ahead and show you guys that. All we've got is about some 4.5 to 5 inch long carriage bolts. You can go longer than that. There's no need to. This is more than enough. That is just a 2x8. So literally, this is probably a little bit of overkill, but this is what I had in hand. So I just got some washers on the back side. Got a ratchet there that I'm going to ratchet that into the tree. And I've also got a 3-pound sledge. You don't need a 3-pound sledge, but this is what I keep on my trailer for my high tunnel building. This is what I put my ground post in with, so I'm just going to repurpose this for this. Just leave that in the tree. I've already drilled a hole in this board here that this is going to go through, and you can see it sticks out probably about 3 inches out the back, which is perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up into this tree here, and I'm going to find, which is right there, and all I'm going to do is just pound that just a little bit to hold it, because I'm only one person here, so I'm going to use it as a little cheat to help me. I'm going to come in right about there, so that's probably about 1 inch out of plumb there, or out of, just like that. I'm going to step back and take a look at it. As you can see, everything is easy in reach. I can get my hands up here above this. I can do any type of work as needed. So what you want to do is you just want to take your ratchet, and you want to ratchet this down. And this is going to give you a good, solid base for that board to mount to. You don't have to go super snug with it, but as you can see, that's going to give you a good, solid, firm base to mount this to. All right, we got this good and tight. Now you may be asking yourself, okay, Tracy, so hold back, go back a second. So you're going to take pipes that you've already bent once and you're going to rebend them. Yes, that is what I'm going to do. what we are going to do is it is okay to rebend the poles if you're going from a looser radius to a tighter one. And what I mean by that is my poles are already bent on a 20-foot bending radius. So I can tighten that up just a little bit to a 12. You cannot go from a 12 and stretch it out to a 20. It will not work that way. So just remember that. Same instance as anything else. You can go from big to small, but you can't go from small to big. So just remember that. I've got everything put together. Everything's ready to go. I've already bent a couple hoops in the background just to make sure the height of this was going to work for video purposes wise. So what I've got here, as you can see, is a pre-bent piece of hoop on the 20-foot high tunnel, which we talked about. It takes 3 10-foot sticks to bend that arch. It's 30 foot a stick to bend a 20-foot arch. That's where you get your 12 to 14 feet of height, depending on how you jack your sidewalls up. So this is the pre-bent center, as you can see. So all you're going to do is you're going to stick that piece in there, and I usually try to leave probably about, they say 9 inches. I usually try to leave probably about 5 or 6 inches is what I try to do. Kind of just somewhere in that range right there. And you could already see, if I step back a little bit, you can always already see the pre-arch. So what you want to do is you want to eyeball this thing. You don't want to bend this like this, or you don't want to bend it like this, because what you do is you'll get a quirky bend. So you want to make sure you lay this in to where the arch is meeting in the middle of these two posts like this. And then you're just going to slightly just pull down real easy like this. Just push your weight. You don't have to go crazy. Once you get to the bottom, it'll flex back up. You move about another 6 to 9 inches. Bend it, it'll come back up. 6 to 9 inches. Bend it, it will come back up. 6 to 9 inches. Bend it, same concept. As you go further down, it gets a little bit harder, of course, because you're losing your leverage. So, of course, each one of these benders that you buy comes with like a 3-foot cheater pipe here with a little bit of weight in it. And what that's for is to stick it in the end here. And it's a cheater pipe. So just go easy with it. One person can literally, I cannot tell you this and stress this enough. This is the 3rd high tunnel I've built, and I've literally done all 3 of these by myself. Now, yes, I do have help when we put plastic on. And yes, I do have help when we build the beds and stuff. When it comes to putting these kits together, you pretty much one person could do it by themselves if you give yourself a week. If you had 2 to 6 people, you could get this done in 2 days. So it's very simple. I've almost got this whole high tunnel already. I put all the ground posts in today, and I'm down to my last couple poles here to show you guys how to rebend these. But just remember, this has already been bent once. So just go easy with it when you go to bend this, because I've kinked a couple pieces already that I'm going to have to throw away that I can't use because I got too aggressive with it, because there were already holes drilled in this pipe because, you know, it was put together as a tunnel. So as you pull on this and those holes are in there, it does stress this. This is just chain link fence top rail. This is all these DIY kits are done. That's what saved you your money versus an all metal kit like that one over there. That kit over there is about 4 times more expensive than a DIY kit. Now, I'm not struggling you away from an all metal kit. One of the best investments I ever made. Everything comes on one crate. You read the instructions, you put it together, you never have to leave your home. It comes with all the nuts, bolts, screws, and everything. But you pay for that convenience and the shipping, also getting that to your house, because you are shipping something that weighs, I would assume, a couple thousand pounds. So, and that does come on semi-truck. So it is a little more expensive to ship. But, you know, this is what it is. You can make this and just go easy with it. There's no need to get in a hurry. Like I said, this is pretty easy to do. When you get to the end, I like to give it just a little kick, and it'll fall on the ground like that. And you just pull that out. Now you've got a rebent piece. So I'm going to lay this over here on some flat ground. And grab another piece. So we grab our second piece, because on this 12-foot tunnel, it only takes 2 10-foot sticks to rebend the arch to a 12-foot versus a 20. So you do have extra pieces. Like I said earlier in the videos, I am going to use those extra pieces to build a 3rd high tunnel next spring. I'm not going to do that this winter. I wanted to get this smaller propagation tunnel built now so I could use it in the spring while I've got a little bit of downtime here going from summer to fall. So once again, you get this set. You can eyeball down it. Go easy, just like that. Now, it may have a couple little kinks here and there. You are reusing pipe that you've already bent. So there's nothing to fret about those little kinks. You may see a couple little kinks here. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. As long as you're not kinking it in half, you are fine. So you can see I need that cheater bar. That's just to get a little bit of leverage there. There you go. All right, you want to find some fairly level ground here. And all we're doing is we are going to put a tech screw into here. And like I said, I've done a whole complete video series, actually 2 complete video series, one on the Bootstrap Farmers website, and then I've done one on our Kansas Garden Guy YouTube channel when I built the DIY. So you want to put a tech screw in. There you go. Now you've got another hoop here. Well, let's put that hoop on. I'm going to grab this hoop here. It's not too bad. This one's not too tall. I'm about 5'8", 5'9", so I can grab both these. Now, if we had 2 people, this would work out a lot better, but like I said, right now we don't have 2 people. My wife is at work, so I'm doing this by myself. So I'm a solo guy. Put one end in. You don't have to get crazy with it. Put it in about a foot or so. Now, the adjustment on this does not matter at this time. You can see all these hoops are going to be a little bit out of adjustment. All you have to do is when you put these hoops in your tunnel here, just push real easy. Don't go crazy because you'll bend this hoop. And it's got a splayed effect. So if you see as I pushed in, these stakes are 2.5 feet in the ground. I've got 2.5 feet out of the ground and 2.5 feet in the ground. That's what gives us our rigidity. That's what gives us our structure. So when we do hit those high 70 to 80, 90 mile an hour winds every once in a while, your tunnel will stay intact. And trust me, we get 70 plus mile an hour winds here in Kansas, and I live up on a hill, so sometimes we get that weather coming in here. No issues with either one of these tunnels at all. So, you know, as you put this in and as you need to move this hoop up or down, you see this, I can just pick it up or I can move it down to adjust the height of that hoop. So I'm going to get the last one bent and then we'll walk around and talk. All right, we have got the last hoop here. Going to put that in. Like I said, it's really easy here. Just kind of lay it in the hole really easy. Come back and you can see what I was talking about that press fit. That's what gives you your structure. Just like that. So yeah, so this is a 12-foot wide, 9-foot tall, 36-foot long high tunnel right here. And I've got the landscaping fabric down just like we did the other tunnel on that big tunnel and the DIY tunnel. To be honest, that's the only way to go. I've seen a lot of people do these smaller tunnels and they don't use the landscaping fabric. And as you're doing what I'm using this tunnel for, as we talked about earlier, I'm using this for seed propagation. So I will have a lot of seed starting mix. I will have a lot of transplants in this area right here set on tables. And so the last thing you want to do is have just bare grass or anything, because any type of seeds that fall on the ground are going to grow. You're going to have to try to mow in here. It's just a big hassle. The best thing to do is to mow this really short, scalp this down, put your landscaping fabric down. That will actually keep all the seeds from germinating, keep the weeds from coming up, and it will give you a good platform to set your tables in and do your watering. Plus water will go through this heavyweight landscaping fabric. But guys, I'm going to cut the video short here. Part 2, we're going to pick up, we're going to do baseboards, hip boards, and we're going to do in wall. So I'll talk to you then. Bye.